Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Behind That Suits, a critical look. It's HSR, and joining me tonight, as usual,
your lady friend Bonnie.
And tonight, we are talking about Dear White People, Chapter
Episode
6. It's Chapter 6.
Okay.
Sheesh.
Jeez.
All right, so how does the episode start, Bonnie?
Well, we kind of get like a recap of sort of what's going on at the campus, and then saying like all these bad things are actually happening at their campus.
This prestigious, lovely place where great leaders and great minds and shit are born, you know?
Yeah. And then like they show clips of Reggie being like, you know, confronted with like the gun in his face by like the white cop, and like what that meant, and like they're saying like that kind of stuff is still happening here today, now, and like, you know, like what can we do?
And then we cut to Sam, and Sam's kind of like at the end of the last episode, you saw Sam banging on the door and Reggie crying.
Yeah, you saw like the inside, like when Reggie was like on the floor crying, like bawling his eyes out, and you heard someone kind of talking.
Well, you know it was Sam.
But you knew it was Sam. But in this case, it's just Sam.
You see her there banging on the door.
Mm-hmm. And you don't actually see Reggie at any point, but like you know what's happening.
And then she like pops off to a radio show, and you know, dear white people, my skin's not a weapon, etc., etc. Her friend is eating chicken nuggets like compulsively.
Yeah,
that's her coping mechanism. And then they have some banter about that. And
then someone calls in, and then she like assumes that they're like white. I guess
kind of sounds like Lionel. Just putting it out there.
Well, I don't think it is, but like, you know, it's supposed to be someone that's.
Some of that was just kind of like, but didn't Reggie start a scene at the party? Wasn't the cop kind of justified in pulling the gun? So she blasted him for white privilege and shit.
You're just kind of like saying like the truth of like what happened.
And then she was like, well, you called him white. He's like, I'm black.
And then he was like, he's like, sorry, brother. Then he's still wrong. Bye. Come see our pep rally. Bye.
And it was kind of like, she clearly needs to have a better idea of how to handle those kinds of awkward situations. You shouldn't just assume the color of the skin of the person making an opinion simply based off of the opinion, even though stereotypes may exist for reasons. I mean, it's a little ironic to like apply stereotypes while fighting stereotypes, you know? Yeah. I think that was like the
especially
point
when it turns
that
out
scene.
That it's like actually like he's like, well, I'm black.
Right. And then from that we bounce into like the black place, like where they all congregate. No, that was like terribly worded, but the house that the various
I think
groups
it's like the BSU house.
No. They have like a name for that particular dormitory, and within that, there's the different like groups and shit.
Okay.
And
I'm not sure. Yeah, I do remember seeing the plaque. Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. Anderson something, I think.
Yeah, and then they're all in there rallying and rioting and whatever. We find out at that point Reggie's got a meeting with the dean, and everybody wants to kill a pig.
Yep. And that's when Coco also stands up and says like, listen, like, you know, like I'm from like the south side of Chicago, and like I saw like friends and family get killed and like die, and you know, like you don't understand that, you know, how nice it would have been if somebody was there.
So no, it was more like her point was the more you double down on this black aggression, the more the cops are gonna like smash you down based off of what's happened there. And she's like, with all these people dying, if only one of them had like tried to accommodate the situation a little better or do anything to have survived in that moment, she would have appreciated it more. And that all these liberal minds with their woke or not bullshit, what difference does it make if you're dead, right? And then
I guess that's martyrism though, right? Or something.
Well, what she's saying is that these people who are like in the moment with the cop freaking out, blah blah blah, etc., instead of just complying, I'm assuming this is what she's trying to say. If you had just cooperated a little better and you lived, that would be a little bit better than you fighting the system righteously, becoming a martyr, and then you're dead.
But I mean, yeah, it's not worth. I don't know. I mean, for some people, it is worth dying over. So.
But I mean.
But it's damn scary that that's like what people are living through today. And it's like, just because of the color of your skin, you're instantly a target. Like, it shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately, in a lot of places it is.
And then, and I thought it was just an interesting point Coco was making. Not to cast any kind of real opinion on what others should do here, but just, is it worth it more, just as a question to you folks, to assimilate or self-preserve to survive, or to challenge the system and die, when you're at like a university type setting like that, where like it's not necessarily like it really almost becomes your choice to fight the system.
Yeah, but I mean, there shouldn't be a gun involved in the first place.
Completely agree.
Clearly the point that they're trying to make. Like, you know, just because there's like, that's exactly what someone says at one point. They say, you know, like, just for a rowdy kid shouldn't have like a gun pulled in their face by like the campus security.
To be clear, I'm not trying to put out my opinion. I'm trying to like rephrase Coco's point of view here, right?
Yeah, she just wanted people to like live, I think.
And she's just fearing because it's like flashbacks to where she comes from. But yeah, what's crazy is there's a few white people there, right? It wasn't just black people. So clearly there's more and more white people getting involved in this movement.
Oh, and then Sam goes and meets Gabe's like... Well, you can finish that.
Well, yeah, just because before that happens, they're all like, Reggie's kind of like stoic the whole way through, and they talk about the meeting, and everybody rallies and how they're going to come to the meeting, and even Gabe's going to join to like whatever.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they leave, and everybody's just kind of, you know, talking for a minute.
And then like Coco like goes and like comforts, you know, Gabe because like he's like, you know, clearly upset, and she's also just appreciative that he's still there.
Reggie, not Gabe.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
But yeah, anyway, they leave the room, and they were like, okay, what the fuck are we going to do? And then you have Gabe basically dropping all this white shit, like, yeah, the political blah, 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 blah. And it's really funny seeing him just there, in my opinion, considering the show and everything. I've had a few of those moments in my life, is all I'm trying to say. And
the awkward white guy?
Absolutely. But yeah, he's right. And so they'll basically deal with this now, or people will become apathetic to the situation. And so... they're all like, what are we going to do? And then Gabe points at the rally sign. We can do this. And
we
then
can go
Sam's
to the pep
like,
rally. And...
yeah, we can make a human blockade. And the next one's like, I can play Beyonce. And then the African guy, I can't remember his name. He's like,
freedom.
We can yell.
He's like, we can, what did he, we can kill them with yelling.
And then she was like, nah, we're going to speak properly. We're going to try to open up a line of communication. We're going to like, you know, reach them with real shit, not make this about confrontation. Make this almost, I guess, peaceful.
Sam's changing her tune. She's trying a different path.
And then an interesting point, somewhere around here. Oh, no. Then they go to, they all bounce off. And then Gabe is like, so you coming to meet my friends at the coffee shop?
Yeah.
Sam tries to
like,
bounce out.
They're starting to think you're not real. And they go to, like, the whitest hipster, like, cafe. And it's just, like
soy,
like the barista is wearing a monocle.
Yeah. Just a side note, all the way through the episode, we find out that Sam can't reach Reggie, and she just can't talk to him. He's not answering her calls.
because they didn't he didn't show up to the student union thing.
Oh yeah, that happened, right? I don't remember if that was before or after the coffee shop, but at some point that happened. But let's say they're in the coffee shop and.
It's before. The coffee shop comes after, actually.
Okay. And then in the coffee shop, we find out a little bit about the victimization issue of how when people become public victims and their shit becomes so politicized so quickly, et cetera, fucks with them.
Yeah.
And you can just see Sam starting to rethink kind of all of this, like, wait.
The behaviors and, like what's going on with Reggie.
And maybe I'm pushing too hard. Maybe I did, you know, like, she's questioning shit. And then, so Reggie skips his meeting, and the dean is, like, really unapologetic. Like, we're following proper procedure. This is just how it's done.
And Troy's there, too, and, like, it's his dad, right? And it's just, like...
Troy, like, tries to fight it for a half second, and he gets shut down like normal.
Yeah.
And then Sam, like, after everybody leaves, goes, what if it was Troy? And he's just like, it would never happen to Troy.
He's like, he was brought up better or something.
Or some shit like that. And, it was just kind of cold there, right? So he kicks them all out the room. And then what do? They
Well, then that's when like they go and
that's where
the white guys.
Yeah, and then she runs into Reggie randomly, just in the hallway or whatever.
Yes.
And at that point,
and then
she like follows him persistently, and he's clearly still stuck. They end up at this like open mic, random ass place where there's some interpretive dance lady expressing pain on. It was
weird, and like she touched on like a bunch of different races, and it was all kind of weird and questionable. But anyways, I mean, that was
her heart was in the right place.
Yeah, I think so.
And then she goes and kisses the one guy and sits on the next guy's lap, and we find out they're probably gonna have some kinky ass sex after. And then Reggie
that's
gets.
What Sam assumes.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 of them. It's clearly gonna be a good time.
Yep.
Then you find out that Reggie wrote a poem, and he spits this shit about, kind of a spoken word piece. It's all about
racism and...
But more like spinning it on his exact situation, and he kind of like clearly wrote it out over the last day. We find out he's been coming here all the time. Even Joelle's come, but he's never brought Sam.
Yeah, she doesn't even believe him. She's like, you never even been here. And he's like, I come here all the time. And she was like, yeah, right. Like, she didn't believe him because she didn't know about it.
And there's a good reason why she didn't know about it, which we kind of find out. I mean,
it's his place where he can come and kind of like open up and kind of like set free like his the things that are on his mind.
There's more to it than that, which we find out right after, right? Because then they go back and they kind of walk towards Reggie's room thing, and she's like, I gotta go to the rally. You should spit the poem. She's pushing him to like spit this poem.
Yeah, she really wants him to perform it like in front of like everybody at like the rally.
Sometimes,
and he's like, no, this is just for me.
Yeah, I never understood that mentality. I'm with Sam. This type of shit is highly effective and should be used for the greater good. But apparently, me and Sam are wrong about this, and that sometimes people.
I would be like, well, you have to be a little bit more like him.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of just having respect, also for the timing and his pain and etc. Fine, she gets it. And then they have a little altercation where we find out really the crux of the tension between them is
whether Sam's gonna go.
It's that when this whole shit went down, she left with Gabe, and he was alone, and he had to deal with this on his own. And when she came back later, it was whatever, but she's with Gabe, and he's like, so you chose him over me? And we find out that they both really, really, really like each other and kind of half admit it to each other.
Well, also I think like back in the day, like, like they had a thing, right? And then I think that's also too kind of maybe what he was implying. That's what I took out of it.
And I feel like he's always wanted her. She's never really like accepted him, right? Just kind of strung him along a bit.
Well, didn't she like date him for a bit and then Coco got him?
She was dating Troy. That's Troy.
Oh. I'm mixing up all the stories.
Yeah.
Darn.
And basically they you could just tell that they're having a moment. He's in pain. She wants to make him feel better.
But like she really wants to go, and like she knows in her heart. I don't think
she actually wanted to go in that moment anymore. She just wanted to fuck it all and be with him. And then they go into the room, and then she takes
that like slow like step into like
phone
his apartment.
Rings right as they're about to kiss, and then basically Gabe's calling, and she just kind of ignores the call.
I don't know if it's Gabe. It's
it was his face. You saw his face on the phone.
Okay. I just thought it was like somebody being like, hey, where you're at.
It's Gabe's face appeared. Come on, that's the only person calling.
I must have missed it. Sorry.
And then she kisses him anyway, no?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. Like that's the whole thing. It ends, and then she's just kind of like, well, like she's looking at her phone, and then she turns it off. But then she kind of looks into the camera, and like you can tell that she's torn, like she doesn't know what to do.
My bad.
But I think I don't know. She doesn't know if she's gonna like deal with it.
I guess we'll find out in the next episode or two if they.
Yeah, it's a cliffhanger.
But it kind of ended there as a cliffhanger.
Is she gonna kiss him? Is she not? Is she gonna cheat on the other guy?
I don't know. I think that there's definitely a conflict there inside of her.
Plus, she needs to get to that rally, so she's got that internal struggle too. That she's got that like commitment that she already made, and that's to standing up for Black people. So she really wants to do that.
Yeah, but she also wants to fuck him.
Yep.
Real bad. And he wants to hit that. He's just standing over there looking down. It was a fascinating episode. I thought it was really interesting to look at the
He's all sad.
The idea of martyrdom, I think, was the crux of this episode, and
yeah, for sure.
Should it be a thing? And I know a younger me would have like highly advocated the idea of martyrdom at all costs, but sometimes that cost is real high. Like what Coco said, like I don't necessarily agree that you should give up the pursuits, but
is it worth dying over?
Is it worth dying over
and what
at a party?
What difference
does
it make?
You know, like
which sucks.
Folks out there, y'all should offer opinions and stuff here. I don't know what else to say. This episode didn't really seem to have as much in it to me. It was kind of more floaty, and it was definitely kind of like a huge episode just happened. And now we're gonna coast for an episode. Plus, interestingly enough, we've started recycling focus point characters. So now we're on Sam's second episode, right? Because it was following Sam around. She was in like the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like a story driving episode to build up to something else for sure. There was not much. I mean,
you can't have something exciting happen every episode.
Well, you can if you're like a 6 episode season.
But it is like a 13 going on 30 kind of deal, like the way that it's made. Like, you know, like one main sort of story and then like all the bits and pieces that kind of evolve around it. So it's interesting. It's like Netflix's new thing.
13 going on 30 or 13 reasons why?
13 reasons why. Wow,
that's
different thing. Very different thing.
It's been a long day. I'd say. So yeah, I don't know what else to say on this episode. Let us know what you think, and if you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, comment below. Take for a grain of salt. We're super white and know what's going on. You know, we're aware.
We're working on it. We're learning all about it.
Anyhow, have a great night, day, whenever you watch this, and we'll
happy Ramadan for those of you out there.
Yeah, we'll finish this series as soon as we can. Anyway, peace.